So for those of you who have Android, uh, feel free to download the app if you can. If you can't, we'll put the link in the chat. Um, we have it for iPhone as well, but for now, Android is easy to share unofficial apps with each other. iPhone, you have to pay and stuff. So for now, just the Android people can look at it. But without further ado, I will pass it off to one of my teammates, and they'll start us off.
Pode- Can we start? Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, you can start.
Bem, saudações diretamente da Amazônia. Greetings from Amazon Rainforest Region. E se coletar e organizar dados agroflorestais no coração da Amazônia fosse tão simples
What if
quanto responder uma
collecting
mensagem no seu
forest
celular?
data in the heart of the Amazon was as simple as answering a message on your cell phone? Our challenge was to create a solution for the Satre-Maué consortium with 500 families around the collective management of Guaraná, a natural energy drink produced in the Andaramarau indigenous land. More than 700,000 hectares legally protected, located at least 300 kilometers away from Pará. It's a remote region that requires a boat travel that takes days. The guaraná is a spiritual and cultural symbol that's essential for the economy and for the preservation of the forest. For certifications, including international certifications, the challenge is to overcome manual processes and logistic limitations, such as offline functionality, local storage, and interfaces as simple as a messaging app can transform this reality, bringing protagonism to the users by optimizing the management of the process without losing sight of their ancestral essence. Now, I'll give the floor to Mariah. So we produced a solution through the app that we created. It has a very simple intergenerational interface so that people with different levels of tech literacy can use it. We found inspiration on WhatsApp, the most widely used app in Brazil, and we also have the option of filling it out in English and in the Satere-Maué language. We have a linguist in the group who will be able to better explore that. But we want to produce the translation working with the populations around the region. So our solution is called Waraná-Seha. In a simple translation, it means the eye of the Warna, given a perspective that will be looking at this jointly with the producers consortium.
Thank you, Maria. And just to provide an overview for everyone, Waraná-Seha empowers users to collect, organize, and report data seamlessly, even without internet connection. And it is both available both in Portuguese and the Satere-Maué language. For the product features, we have 5 features. Role-based user system, which basically we have 2 users. Number 1 is the agent, and number 2 is the admin. Authentication to verify its users. We also have an image capture feature, automated form generator feature, and bilingual conversational layout. And this is an example of the UI mockups. And for those who are curious on how the app works, you can just scan the QR code below, and I'm gonna pass it to Kian for the live demo. Kian?
Okay, everyone. Yeah,
Muito bem,
let's just
todo
go over
mundo.
here. I have it here on my Android phone here, so you guys can all see it. But I'm just going to show you on the emulator here because it's a bit easier. So when we jump in, we have a login screen. You can put in your credentials and go log in. And then you see all of the historical data here. The thought process behind this is that WhatsApp is an extremely common app to use, even in the most rural parts of Brazil. So as long as the design is very similar to WhatsApp, there would be no tutorial necessary. Basically, if you have offline data that you've recorded, when you get internet in the background, it will sync that data. Or if you want to manually do it, you just pull down from the top as you do in WhatsApp. You can look at specific producers of acai and you can see, oh, this one doesn't have any registry. So I'll go ahead and start marking it. You can start marking the stuff that's in the form. The basic concept is that we wanted to bring a more conversational, one question at a time approach to filling out this form. So as you can see, if there's some information you don't know, it's fine to skip it. If you don't have time to finish it, you have to come back another time. Maybe you can't get all the information. You'll see how much has been concluded already here. And you can see what type it is. There's two different types of forms that we had to deal with in this challenge. And they look like this. You have the individual form here, and you have the cadastro form here. And so these are very complicated, old-fashioned ways of doing it. There's some a lot of Portuguese language on there, heavy, very intense Portuguese language. So being a linguist in Tupian languages, I thought that this would be a great way to create more jobs within the language of the community. More people who maybe don't speak that kind of Portuguese can still go out and conduct these using the apps. And the data will be stored in a linguistic invariant way. It is stored in a linguistic invariant way such that when we generate reports, we can go ahead and see those reports in Portuguese, or we can see them in Sateremawe. Later on, if you want to add something, you can go ahead and add it here and it'll save there. If you go back, you'll see that it's saved here. If you want to do another form and you've already done it for the last year, these forms expire every 4 years. So basically, this application will send you a notification, a fixed time limit, before you have to set up another appointment to go and fill out this form again for this specific producer. That way, you don't have to put it on your calendar. The app does it for you. When you actually go to fill it out, you can see that some of the information that I had already filled in the last form is present in this form. If we click through here, there's certain information that we have, which is more complex, like how many family members you have. Not to worry, we're able to, say, that that's my son or that's my daughter, and we can mark that here. And right now it's in Portuguese, but the idea is to work directly with indigenous people, which is something I already do in my job in order to create resources in their languages as a linguist. So once you get to the end of the form, there's different things. You talk about the products, how much you've got at the end, you sign it, and then you can take a picture, right? This is what the emulator camera looks like. And then you can add photos like faces of people. You can add different things from your library, like a map. There was a part of this project, which was a map. We'll talk about our thoughts later, but the quick and dirty way is to continue drawing the maps and just take a picture of it. But there are more complicated solutions that we did think of. So aside from all that, we already implemented both of the forms. So today, people could use this. Yeah, go
Perdão
ahead.
por interromper, só para lembrar que vocês já estão passando do tempo da apresentação, se puderem
I'm sorry
dar
to
uma
interrupt. Your time is up,
Okay,
so
all right. The
please
last thing
conclude.
I'll show you is that, we have the aggregation that was required. You can see medium maximum of goods produced over time. You have the refresh, and we generate PDFs. So I'll just go back to the presentation, and I guess we can talk about the next slide. We only have a couple more slides, but just go real quick.
Quickly to close out, these are the designs that we would want to polish the app to look like eventually. We can go to the next slide. I think we just want to look at the maps really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we go.
so field agents will be able to mark important places and resources in the region, such as the producer's house, the smokehouse, the grove, the trees, and being able to add photos of those locations and provide, quantitative information. Eventually, we would like in the future to be able to track walking paths through GPS. This will make it easier to find these resources for field agents in the future, because oftentimes the paths between these different resources is not direct. Yeah.
All right, that's
questions?
Perfeito. Muito obrigada, pessoal. Muito
Perfect.
legal
Thank you,
mesmo o trabalho
everyone.
que
It
vocês
was really
desenvolveram.
great work.
E abro aqui agora espaço
So I
para as
would like to
perguntas.
open space for questions.
Cara, assim, e vocês terem conseguido fazer isso em dia e meio é
Having
impressionante.
been able to do this in 1.5 days is
Vocês criaram
impressive.
aplicativo,
You
dá pra
created
ver que,
an
inclusive,
app
vocês têm até
and you even have
brand pronto no
a
background de
brand
vocês.
ready in your background.
Excelente.
So that was excellent.
Bom, a proposta desse desafio
The
era fazer uma
proposal
coisa,
of the
vocês foram
challenge
bem
is to
além
do
disso.
one thing.
Dá
You
pra
went
imaginar
way
que se
beyond.
tiver uma aderência a esse projeto,
If
se esse projeto começa a ser
if the
usado
project
e
starts
as
being
comunidades
used
começam a se
and
cadastrar como produtores,
people
a
start
produção
registering
do
as
Guaraná é um
producers,
dos fatores que
Guaraná
dá
production
para
is one factor
canalizar, digamos
that
assim.
we can
Tem
channel
outros
through
vários,
there.
inclusive algumas coisas
But
talvez que sejam
other
mais importantes
things
do que
that might be even more
plantar grama.
important than planting Guaraná.
Mas o projeto que tem potencial
But the project
gigantesco.
has a
Parabéns
huge
de novo por
potential.
terem conseguido
Congratulations
fazer isso
again
em dia e meio.
for
Obrigado.
having done that in 1.5 days.
Pessoal, uma dúvida rápida aqui.
I
Parabéns
have a quick
pelo
question.
projeto. O
Congratulations for the
design tá muito legal,
project.
inclusive,
The design
muito
is
especial do design aí.
great. I really
A parte
enjoyed
dos
it.
gráficos, só para entender,
The
ele não entrou nessa etapa do
The
protótipo ainda.
charts aren't in the prototype yet,
Então,
right?
seria um passo seguinte.
That would be the
Esse,
next
mas tem
step.
vários outros que
We
foram
do have
mostrados.
some charts.
Acho que no último slide apresentaram alguns gráficos.
É
Yes,
isso
we
que
do
a
have
gente tem hoje, que é uma
This is what we have today.
agregação, que foi o
It's
que a
an
gente
aggregation.
precisava
It's what we
fazer.
needed to
Mas o que a
do.
gente estava fazendo
But what we were
além
doing
desses
in
gráficos era
addition
olhar,
to these
você
charts
pode
was
fazer,
looking
eu sou
at
cientista de dados, né?
a
Então,
data
com
scientist.
dados
So
assim, ou
with data like
tempo, a gente
this
sabe os
and
quilos,
time,
o
we
preço, a gente
know
consegue
the price,
falar
the
de outras
amount of
coisas para esse
kilos.
povo,
We
para
can see a lot of things. It
enriquecer
seems
eles
little,
sua própria
but we
terra,
can
né? Isso
enrich
é
them.
importante é que nosso
Um,
projeto tem o
Our
foco de
project
protagonismo
has the
indígena,
focus
né? A
of
gente só tá ajudando
using the
o povo, mas a
indigenous
gente não
people
quer
as
vender, é
placing them
completamente
as
aberto,
agents.
fonte aberto, né?
We don't want to
Então,
sell it
é
open
alguma coisa só
source,
para
so it's
ajudar
something just to
mesmo.
help.
Mariana?
Olá, pessoal.
Excelente.
Hi,
Parabéns pela
everyone.
iniciativa,
Congratulations for
excelente.
your
Acho que tem
initiative.
realmente
It's
diversos ramos que
excellent.
poderia utilizar.
We could use it for
Minha
several
dúvida era com
things. My
relação
question is about
à entrada desses dados, né? Acho que a
data
maior parte está
entry.
como texto, né?
Most
Mas eu
is
não
as a
saberia dizer se toda a
text,
comunidade
but I don't
alfabetizada
know if the
tem esse
entire
produto, seja no idioma próprio, né?
community is
Então, eu queria saber se vocês
literate
têm
in
alguma
Portuguese. So
alternativa
do
para
you
esse caso.
are you thinking about any
É,
alternative if that's the
E
case?
entender um pouco melhor, que eu vi ali
And
a lista dos produtores, né? Mas eu
understand
gostaria de ver um pouco a cara do app para o produtor em
I would
si.
like to see the
Para mim não ficou tão
app's
claro ali. Eu imagino que
interface
a
for the
mensagem do produtor
producers.
seja mais para
It's
quem vai
not clear for
gerenciar.
me.
Se puder explicar esses dois pontos, por favor.
If you could explain those 2 points,
Isso,
please.
falando nisso, né? Esse aplicativo é
This app
para o
is
agente, né? Não
for
é
the
para o
agent. It's
produtor.
not for
Então,
the
o agente
producer.
vai para essas
So the agent
fazendas,
will go to
essas
these
lugares em que eles cultivam
producing
guaraná e
areas where
outras
they
plantas, né?
produce
Eles vão
guaraná and other
utilizar esse
plants, and they will
aplicativo.
use this app.
Hoje em dia, a gente está utilizando
Today,
isso, né?
this is
Então,
what we
se a gente
use.
tivesse um
So if we
aplicativo que
had
dava
an
para
app
digitar ou
that you could
até
tie
utilizar áudios, alguma coisa,
or
é bem
use
melhor
audio,
na
it's
língua
much better
Sateré-Maué
in
do que
the
o que a
Satere
gente
Maué
tem hoje em
language
dia,
than what
que
we
é
have today.
isso. Então, não
So
é
it's not
uma solução perfeita, né,
a
para quem
perfect
não é
solution
letrado, mas é
if you're
passo
not
melhor
literate,
que
but it's a
pelo menos você
better
pode ter
step.
orgulho que sua
And you
própria
can
língua indígena
be
está
proud
sendo
of your own
utilizado para
indigenous
fazer
language being
coisas
used to
oficiais.
do
Porque hoje em dia no
produce
Brasil
official
falta
documents,
muito
because in
isso, né?
Brazil, that
Falta muito
is something that is really
coisas
lacking.
oficiais nas línguas indígenas.
Official documents in indigenous
Com
languages.
certeza.
Se eu puder pegar o gancho
If
aqui
I
e
could
complementar a fala do
add
colega,
to what my
uma
colleague is saying,
coisa que não houve tempo de
we did
desenvolver e
have time to
discutir, mas foi
develop and
apresentado
discuss,
como
but
uma
it did
uma
come up
sugestão, inclusive do
as a
colega Ricardo, que
suggestion.
não pôde estar aqui hoje,
Ricardo
teve um
couldn't
pouco de
be
dificuldade de
here.
interagir com a gente por conta da questão da língua.
He had a little bit of difficulty of
Mas
interacting with us because
ele
of the
deu essa
language,
sugestão e
but
a
he
gente falou que poderia ser
suggested this, and
um
it
passo
could be
adiante, né?
a next
Em que
step
esses inputs pudessem ser
in
feitos
which
por mensagem de
these
voz ou
inputs
vídeo.
could be done by video or voice message.
Muito bom.
Okay, great.